to Western Review.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to another episode of Roston's Reviews. My name is Mr. Roston, Cluster 6-1 Social Studies teacher here at BMS, and it's a special Monday episode. So, Friday, what happened? Well, as you all know, I have some internet issues in my room, and it went completely out. Like, completely. I was running on like 8 megabytes per second. It was atrocious. So I couldn't connect to YouTube. I couldn't connect to the live. It was not good. It wasn't good at all. So we're back here on a Monday. A quick week 21 overview. And yeah, and that's it. And we got some important announcements at the end. But let's jump right into it, shall we? So, week 21 started off pretty good, if I do say so myself. All right, we're going to move it down a little bit. There we go. Yes, we are streaming live from Roston HQ, and that's okay. But we're here, we're doing it. So, last week, you had a weekly challenge. And your weekly challenge was National Compliment Day, and your mission was to send somebody an email giving them a compliment or take a video of you giving somebody a compliment. Now, some of you did it, and I made sure that if you complimented me, I wrote you a nice email back thanking you for taking the time to compliment me. I appreciate all the compliments, and it was a real nice thing to do. So that's what we did last week. All right. Let's go through what we did. So, on Monday, we started off with analyzing our HIQ documents and learning about the different pharaohs and how they spent their money, the surplus money, whether they were wise investors and wasteful spenders. So the first thing we did is we went over the 6 points of annotation. Now, as you know, the 6 points of annotation is a close reading strategy. It helps us to find the important information easier, okay? Now, we've been working on this for the entire school year, but this is the first time that we used all 6 points of annotation. And let me tell you, it's awesome, all right? So, let's review the 6 points of annotation. The first thing we do is we preview the source, right? So, we're looking for the title, the author, the publishing date, and then we determine whether it's a primary or secondary source, right? We go through the preview, then what we do is we read the paragraph twice, right? And we break it down by paragraphs. Why? So that way we don't get overwhelmed with too much information all at once, okay? So we read through the paragraph twice. The first time we're reading it through, we're trying to get an idea of what we're reading, right? We're trying to preview it, if you will. Get an idea of the main idea and the point. So that way when we go back the second time and we annotate it, it helps to make reading and finding that important information that much easier. So the first thing we do, once we've read our paragraph, before we go through the second time, is we look for the key academic vocabulary. All right? So we're looking for that key academic vocabulary. What does that mean? That means we're looking for unit vocabulary words, which we get at the beginning of every unit, or social studies words. So if we find those words that we know, things like, I don't know, pharaoh, pyramid, I don't know, what's another word? Pharaoh, pyramid, wise or wasteful, dynasty, things of that nature, okay? We highlight them in red. Then, the second thing we do is we look for words we don't know. And if we don't know the definition of words, there are 2 ways for us to figure out the definitions. First way, we use our context clues. We read the words around it, we read the sentence again, we try to figure out the meaning, okay? If we can't figure out the meaning at that point, the second thing we do, we use the dictionary. So since we're all digital in my classroom, all you have to do, highlight the word, right-click on it, go down, click on define the word, and Google defines the word for you. Oh my goodness, amazing. Just amazing, this technology stuff. It's not like back in the day when I first started at Broadview where I had these big red dictionaries and kids legitimately had to go through, find the word, figure out the definition, and be like, oh, now it's right at your fingertips. So much easier. Okay? So we do the challenging words. Then we read the paragraph again, and we first look for our topic sentence, and we highlight our topic sentence in blue. Okay? Then we're going to highlight our important information in orange. So for our purposes, for this assignment, for the HIQ documents, we were looking for ways that Pharaoh spent money, whether it was wise or wasteful. If it talked about them spending money, we highlighted it in orange. If it didn't, we jumped over it, skipped it, no big deal. Then, after we've gone through and found all that important information, for every 2 paragraphs, you had to create a summary of what you learned. Excuse me. So, what does that mean? That means you summarize, you give the main idea of what you learned from that paragraph, from those 2 paragraphs. And then, at the end, we create a question in a purple text box. Why? So that way we know that it's a question that we have. And maybe it'll help us later on to kind of come up with our conclusion. All right? So those are the 6 points of annotation. All right? And we're going to use all 6 points from now on. Why? Because as I told you in class, it's time to take off the training wheels. It's time to be real historians and find that important information and use all the tools necessary. Now, here's a little hint. And I told a few of you, I told most of you, that key academic vocabulary is going to help you find the important information. A lot of the times, it leads you to the important information, which is awesome. Makes your life easier. Right, remember, we're historians. We work smarter, not harder. So let's take a look at an example of what your documents should look like. So if you go to document 3, which we did together, mind you, right? We did it all together. So it should look something like this. Now I know, parents, if you're watching, it looks like a lot. There's a lot of colors going on. I understand, but there is a method to the madness, okay? So in blue, we have our topic sentences. In orange, we have our important information, right? In the red, we have our key academic vocabulary. We didn't have any green this time because fortunately, on the bottom here, we had all the definitions of those hard words that we didn't know, okay? We have our 2 summaries because we had 4 little paragraphs here. So we had 2 summaries and 1 question. So this is what your sources should look like from now on as we go through China and India and Greece and Rome. Should look this colorful and beautiful, okay? Method to the madness. So we met in our HIQ documents, Thutmose III. We met. Oh, hold on. Is it working? It's not working. Uh-oh. There we go. Hatshepsut, the first queen of Egypt. We met King Tutankhamun. King Tut, the boy king. Remember, I dressed up like him. Ramses II. Good dude. Pharaoh Khufu, my favorite pharaoh, which some of you still don't remember. How dare you? And his son Khafre. Okay? At the end of class, you shouted out your favorite pharaoh, creating a tweet. You shared your favorite pharaoh, whether they were wise or wasteful, and created a hashtag, and some of them were awesome. Good job. All right, so that's what we did. After that, we looked at our surplus strips. Okay? Now, what is surplus? If you remember from our time together, a surplus is extra. So what the Egyptians used to do was, after the harvest, they would make sure all the people had food, right? They'd put some extra into the granaries in case of a drought or in case a flood took out the next year's crops or whatever. And then they would sell the extra, right? They would trade it with other civilizations like Nubia and Greece and China and things like that on the Silk Road, which we'll get to when we talk about China, okay? So we looked at how different pharaohs spent that surplus money. So we talked about, in the first one, Hatshepsut building the temple at Deir el-Bahari. We talked about how Khufu built the Great Pyramid. We talked about King Tut and the 5,000 objects in his tomb for the afterlife. We talked about agricultural infrastructure, which, as you know, agriculture is just a fancy word for... That's right, farming. Good job. So we talked about how they created canals and how they took water from the river to plant the crops. We learned about granaries. We learned about the overseer. We learned about Pharaoh Akhenaten building that new capital in Memphis or Thebes. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. But he built a new one in honor of the sun god Aten. We learned about armies and uniting Egypt, which, if you remember, that was Pharaoh Menes. And then the military campaigns, your boy Thutmose III, wink wink, nudge nudge, paying for scribes, and that was it. So we went through and we figured out whether these things were wise and wasteful, and then we put them in order. What was the most wise, what was the most wasteful, and we shared out, and we had to use evidence to support our answers, right? Which led us to your favorite activity in the entire world. Give me one sec. I gotta switch the camera again. Hello. Which led us to your favorite activity in the world, the Fishbowl. Now, as I told you guys in class, this is our last Fishbowl with jobs. Why, you might ask? Well, Mr. Roston, why is it the last one? Because I warned y'all. I said, do not put comment counter. Everybody cannot be a comment counter. You can't do it. It's not, who's going to have a fishbowl? So I'm not going to, name names, even though I want to, but I'm not. Out of 26 of you, only 2 put that you wanted to be a participant. Not good. Not good. So what did we do? Well, being the awesome teacher that I am, I assigned people roles, and we still had the fishbowl, and everybody did awesome. However, from now on our next fishbowl in China, which, newsflash, going to be Emperor Shi Huangdi. Was he a good ruler or a bad ruler? But we'll get more into that when I get there, okay? Everyone's getting in the bowl, baby. Everybody. No more jobs. Everybody write in. It's going to be awesome. Awesome. Okay? So, everyone's going in the bowl. All right? So for homework, y'all have to fill out this. Your fishbowl reflection. That is for homework, assignment number 19. Now, blue class, you haven't had this yet, but you will get it tomorrow. Excuse me. This is due by Wednesday when you walk into class. So make sure you get it done. That's it. That's what we did in social studies last week. It was an awesome week. Awesome week. We learned about 6 points of annotation. We learned about the pharaohs, whether they were wise or wasteful. We went over surplus strips, found out whether they were wise investments or wasteful spending. And this week, you're writing your argumentative essay, which is even better. Awesome. God, I love teaching. I love this unit. So much fun. All right, guys. So, that's what we did in social studies this week. I do have a few major announcements, though. 1, there will be only 3 more Roston reviews until we get to PBL in May and June. And you might be saying to yourself, well, why, Mr. Roston? Well, as you know, I am a varsity baseball coach, and when baseball season starts, we have games on Friday. So that means I am literally leaving the building on Friday, right after dismissal. Y'all know me on bus duty. Right now I'm calling buses, which is awesome. Cool, fun thing to do. But, third trimester, I change over to another job. Don't tell Dr. Thomas, but I haven't looked yet. I hope she's not watching. I'm just kidding, Dr. Thomas. I totally know where I'm going. Totally. So there will only be 3 more roster reviews, but your parents have no fear. I will continue to send out those weekly reviews via talking points, so no worries there. You'll know what's going on in our classroom. And then once the season ends, I'll be able to come back to do Roston reviews, which is nice. So that's major announcement number 1. Major announcement number 2 is this week you have your written assessment, so your argumentative essay, and your choice board. We're going to start. So those are 2 assessment grades. So I just put in the Fishbowl grades today because I finally got done doing that. We have your argumentative essay plus the choice board. So that's 2 major assessments in rapid succession. So let's make sure that we are on top of our game and making sure that everything is done properly. Okay? That's okay that you can't see the full stream. You just watch it later. That's fine. You do you. All right? All right. So, I think that's it. Baseball season's coming, friends. Oh, it's coming, and I'm so excited for the warmer weather. And, we're getting to the good stuff now. The ancient China, ancient India. Greece is another favorite of mine. Greece is going to be awesome. We're going to do so many cool stuff. And then Rome, where, as you know, as I've been preaching this entire school year, you get to choose what you want to study in ancient Rome and create a project, which is going to be great. So, that's it for Roston Reviews this week. I hope you all had a great weekend. I hope you're all ready and raring to go for this argumentative essay. I know I am. And from now on, for the last 2 or 3 episodes of Roston Reviews, we will be doing it here from Roston HQ because I don't want you to miss out because of the internet. I want to make sure that the internet works, and I know at my home it works. So we'll make sure that everything gets done, ready and raring to go. All right, and that we're all set, and that way you don't have to miss the last 3. All right, friends, I hope you have a great week this week. I hope you've recharged the batteries because you know Roston is bringing it 110% in social studies. I hope you all have a great week this week. Be kind to one another. Peace be with you and with you. Roston